Aotearoa, and welcome to Tuesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news of new truce agreements in the US, at least as claimed by the US. Iran, though, is conspicuously quiet that there is any agreement, however. But at the year's halfway point, economic prospects are generally far from dire. In the US, the next regional Fed factory survey for June is out from the Dallas Fed. That shows little change. Price pressures were mixed, as selling prices and wages rose faster while input cost pressures held steady. Looking ahead, manufacturers remained optimistic, especially as they're able to recover their cost increases. It is a sure sign inflation is being tolerated and is embedding. Despite that, company bosses say inflation is their top concern. Across the Pacific, retail sales in Japan rose 5.3% in May from a year ago, rising from an upwardly revised 2.8% in April and higher than the expected 3.2% gain. It was also their strongest growth since November 2023. The strength was broad-based and especially for new car sales. Not driving this increase was fuel costs because they actually fell in the month. In South Korea, a monumental public-private investment announcement. They've announced an unprecedented $520 billion US plan with Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix to expand chip-making capacity in the country to stay competitive in the global AI race. It will feature the construction of 4 new production facilities, 2 by each of the chip makers. The surge that started in March in Singapore's producer prices has only risen from there, coming in 27% higher than year-ago levels. This doesn't include fuel, but it does include chemicals, which are up 29%, and machinery up 31%. Malaysia's producer prices rose 7.8% in May from a year ago, accelerating from 5.4% growth in the prior month and marking the third straight month of gain. Was also the fastest increase since June 2022, with producer-level cost pressures mounting amid persistent disruptions linked to the Middle East conflict. And India's industrial production stayed at an expansion rate of 5.1% in May from a year ago, held back by their mining industry and no doubt by energy conservation issues. But it is still a fast expansion and higher than the 4.8% rate in May 2025. EU economic sentiment ticked up in June from a low level, mainly because of an improvement in consumer sentiment, but that was not matched by a similar improvement in business sentiment. Globally, the FAO has been reviewing the outlook for the rural economy. Among many observations, they see China's demand for beef rising sharply, so that beef and sheep meat prices will be underpinned. For dairy products, they note that most of the global growth will come from India, but for internal consumption. Only 7% of global production is expected to be exported, and 70% of that will be just by 3 countries, the EU, the US, and New Zealand. Prices are expected to stay high for exported product. Overall, they see rising rural productivity, especially in advanced countries. And staying global, the latest data for air cargo demand has been released for May, and that shows a 6% expansion driven by an 8% rise in the Asia-Pacific international trade and a 12.9% recovery in trade with North America. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.37%, unchanged from this time yesterday, and the price of gold has retreated to $4,022 an ounce, down a net $66 from yesterday. Silver is now under $58 an ounce, down $1 from yesterday. Oil prices are up $2 at just on $71 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is now just over $73 a barrel. Interestingly, while these prices rose, Russian oil prices fell, now down to $57 a barrel. Hormuz transits have stayed at their lower level after the recent flare-up in fighting, with just 14 crude or product tankers exiting over the past 24 hours, and 28 entering for new loads. Over the past 2 days, almost 70% of exiting vessels were headed to China. The Kiwi dollar is up 10 basis points from yesterday at just on 56.5 US cents. Against the Aussie, we're up 30 basis points at 82.1 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're unchanged at 49.5 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just on 60.4, which is up 20 basis points from yesterday. And the Bitcoin price started at $60,319 and up 1.4% from yesterday. Volatility of the past 24 hours has been modest at just a plus or minus 1.4%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston. We'll do this again tomorrow.